and good time zone. And what is up, gamers? Hi, everybody. I really need to make these intros high energy so that if people are watching this on the VOD on YouTube, they don't click off being like, wow, this person's a bad presenter. I mean, I am a bad presenter, but you know. I should try not to get off to a bad foot, but also, this is the first time I've spoken to anyone since like 7 or 8 this morning. So, by the time it gets to stream time, I forget how to people. So that's fun. Anyways, hi. Hello, welcome in. Hope you are well. It's lovely to see you all. And hello, Turnip. Thank you very much for the lurk, for starters. And hello to anyone else who is very, very quietly lurking. It's lovely to see you. It's wonderful to be present. And in general, so what have y'all been up to? I missed you. I was not here last time I was meant to stream on Monday because my internet was getting sorted. And it was not done by the time I would normally start stream. And I really hope it's working correctly right now. I hope that the playback is okay. It seems like the internet in this room is fine. But I am technically on a different internet connection, and the broadband router doodad is on directly the opposite side of the house, so I did have a little bit of concern as to whether or not the internet would be picking up okay over here and not being a little chuggy because I'm real far away. So hopefully everything looks and feels fine. It says my connection's excellent, and I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy to be back because, to be honest, I wanted to stream on Monday and I couldn't because there was a man drilling into my walls, which was a scary and fun experience for me. It was fine. It was fine, except that because the place where the internet router is and all, they have to put all the wiring and stuff, where that is relative to the outside of the building is basically right next to my living room window, which is where my sofa is. So normally I sit in the living room window, not in the window, but I sit like right next to the window on the sofa to, like, you know, do work and stuff when I'm not at my studio desk. And I couldn't sit there. I couldn't sit there because there was a dude on a ladder directly outside the window. And I didn't want him seeing me just sitting there like a lemon, you know, sort of like do spreadsheets and, you know, surreptitiously writing fan fiction during my workday. No, I kid for legal reasons. That is a joke. Yeah, so that was extremely awkward. So I was basically sequestered in the studio for most of the afternoon anyways, but I couldn't actually stream because I didn't know at what point my internet was going to disappear, and I didn't know whether or not there were going to be like configuration issues when the internet did get up and running. And there were some minor configuration issues that we did eventually sort out, but anyways, I'm here now, so hooray. And the internet works. And please do let me know if you encounter any technical issues that are clearly on my end related to the internet, because there is some stuff we're gonna have to sort out. We bought a beautiful new cable. My moderator / spouse picked his favorite color, so that's fun, even though we're probably not gonna see the cable ever because it's gonna be behind a bunch of stuff, but still we'll know it's his favorite color, and that's special. Hello, Mimicry, welcome in. It's lovely to see you. Hello. I hope you're well. It's wonderful to see you. It's wonderful to be back. And hi, everybody. In other me news, I have been squirreling away on artworks off stream. So obviously I haven't been working on this off stream because, well, as you can see, it looks the same as it did last time. But I have been pre-gaming some of Hollow Knight Art Month, which is technically next month, but I'm going to be away for like almost 2 weeks of next month. So I'm trying to get ahead of things since the prompt list has already been published. I'm trying to get ahead of things by doing some of the paintings in advance, which is having an interesting time with that. It's been trying to speed run this many artworks in like a couple of days, as you know, as someone who will spend up to like probably several weeks working on this one piece that might not even be that good in the long run. it's weird for me doing things at that that speed, and I am trying to speed run it by kind of doing like 3 or 4 paintings at the same time, and hoping that it's okay that a lot of my backgrounds are going to be really kind of vague and sketchy, and I'm not really drawing them out first. So here's an overview of what I've done for Hollow Knight Art Month so far, in case you're curious. I'm going to keep it real fast, because I don't want to spoiler too much. Just in case you don't want to be spoiled for my Hollow Knight Art Month art, but also none of these are finished, so yeah. I have so many. This isn't even all of them because I still need to sketch some of them out, and this is just for the portion of the month that I'm not going to be in the country. Anyways, Mimicry says, I read that you're in need of Blorbos. I don't know what that is, but I hope you got them. Blorbos are like if you have a favorite character that you just love very dearly and want to hold them gently in your hands and give them little scritches and treats, and maybe, I don't know, stick them in the microwave to see what happens. So like, it's like, oh, it's a little guy, your Blorbo might be a cute little snake mascot, or it might be hold please, it might also be 2 characters from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which are some of mine anyways. So yeah, yesterday was a weird day. I had to take my moderator / spouse to a doctor's appointment. He's fine, by the way. It was a routine thing, but but I had to go to an appointment, and the walk was very unshaded on a very, very sunny day, and that was an adventure. We had a nice time on our little walkies, except obviously, he wasn't feeling awesome, because yeah. Anyways, not to get into too much detail, but yes, medical thing. We're all fine, but yeah, hello Tals, welcome in. I'm waffling. Hello Moriax, he says, please don't microwave Nog, I don't think he'd like it. I would never microwave Nog. He's a special, but listen, my personal Blorbo treatment is to like hold them gently and give them a warm blanket and a nice cup of whatever their preferred non-alcoholic beverage is, and maybe help them find a therapist that works for them. That's my general preferred Blorbo treatment. But your mileage may vary. Also, I hope you're well. Hello, how are you doing? It's lovely to see you. But yeah, so I had somewhat of an overstimulating day because I had to go on an excursion, but I also had a bunch of work that I had to get done in between that, and then so going out to get groceries, again, extremely sunny, and the bus stops, there's no freaking shade at any of the bus stops. They're all in like the wrong angle, and the sun is just like beaming directly into my face. Having a terrible time. So uncomfortably warm anytime the sun is touching my body. And it's only like 18 degrees Celsius. Yay! So by the time I had to go back out and get groceries later on in the day, I was feeling extremely done. And so I put a call out on Blue Sky to see if anyone could just submit like photos of characters I like to try and help me survive the ordeal. And it really helped, and I appreciated that. That was nice. So thank you everyone who submitted Blorbos. That was a genuine request for assistance, and I do appreciate the assistance. I'm stirring my tea because I'm just a little concerned that it's possible that like all of the gubbins sank to the bottom, because I did add a spoonful of sugar to this one. This is lemon and ginger, by the way, because I'm feeling aromatic and spicy. Anyways, this is my stack of Hollow Knight Art Month art so far. Tels wants to know about tea. Sure, okay. I will do you have a specific question, Tels, or do you just want me to waffle? Because I will waffle about this tea for a moment. This is lemon and ginger, but it does also contain yerba mate, which is not of the tea plant. None of this is of the tea plant. Technically, it's an herbal infusion, but yerba mate has the distinction of being one of the few non-tea herbal infusions that people drink as a tea that has caffeine in it. I'm cool with that because caffeine is focus juice to me and it does not keep me awake at night. What keeps me awake at night is just as I'm nodding off and my brain is at its most vulnerable. There is a part of my lizard brain that will go like, hey, remember that embarrassing thing that you said or did like 20 years ago? I bet the people that you spoke to remember that most about you more than anything else about you. They remember that so hard. They remember it very frequently. Um, and they think that you're cringe and stupid and super embarrassing. So that so that keeps me up at night. But caffeine not so much. Caffeine, if nothing else, helps me focus enough to fall asleep sometimes. So I'm good. I'm good with a late evening yerba mate, and I will indeed have a coffee after dinner as well. Wee. Anyways, so that's that one, and it does also have lemongrass and ginger in it because they're delicious and all. They're also good for your tum tum. This is just good old mint. This is a blend of 50% spearmint and 50% peppermint. It tastes like mint plus the whatever paper the bag is made from, and I don't prefer that, but this is more of a functional brew. I do like a mint tea situation. When it's cold, I can chug it. But I drink it less for deliciousness and more for utility. Paper flavored, says Tells. Yeah, I'll be honest. Tea bags generally are not my favorite. I prefer loose leaf, which I don't know if that sounds pretentious, but I don't like when I can taste the bag, and sometimes you can taste the bag, and I don't prefer that. I weirdly enough, bag is not my favorite flavor. Go figure. Anyways. So yeah, those are today's teas. Here's some art I'm doing for Hollow Knight Art Month, but I'm going to go through it real quickly just in case you don't want to be too spoilered. Here's Chapel Maid. She's sweeping. I like the fact that she's basically lump-shaped. She was fun to draw. I don't know why she has... I looked at a whole bunch of sprites of her, and she's got 3 legs in all of them, which is real confusing. I take it the Wi-Fi is working then, says Sledge. If I'm online, then I guess it is. So yay. This is eventually going to be Surface Memento. I had to look up what that was in the wiki without spoiling myself, so I have a picture of it, but I don't know where you get it or what it is. But I haven't sketched in the rest of it, but she's going to be putting it up on her shelf of trinkets with like a jar of mossberry jam, and she's on a little step stool because she can't reach. Here she is with Chakra in the Sands of Karak. Here are some little ant people toasting marshmallows. This is Relic Seeker Scrunge, just looking for... Listen, it looks disorganized, but she has a system. This one looks really bad right now, but that's going to be Eva. That's Hornet in Shellwood. Pigeon. Record shop. He's in a record shop. No, they're in a what? It's in a record shop. It's in a record shop. I think its pronouns are it. So I apologize. Vault Keeper. Mask Maker. Has a Sports Direct mug. Is gonna try really hard not to dip his paintbrush into it. Big Flea. Garmond. Zote. Okay. I am trying really hard to be ahead of things and not make things too complicated. And oh my god, some of these got caught. Like, why did I think, yeah, I'm gonna draw a freaking record shop? Why would I do that? I could have just had him listening to like rumors. I could have just had it listening to like rumors. I don't know why I didn't just have it listening to rumors. Heck. The 4th leg is the arm, perhaps, as mimicry. I think it must be. Because she is holding a broom and sweeping up. Anyways, record shop less than bookshop. I mean, it's less work than a bookshop. Thankfully, I'm trying not to draw bookshelves. There will be shelves. There are shelves, but they've got other things than books on them, and I'm gonna try and keep shelves to a minimum because I don't have very many days left in which to do this. I was aiming to get all of these done before the end of the month. Oh no, I want to watch this, but I have to go back to work, says Professor Nick Terrace. Oh, I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for stopping by. And I hope you have a good rest of your work. Yes. Those were a lot of words, says Sledge. They sure were. You're gonna need to play Hollow Knight and or Silksong to understand what they meant. Heck, I don't understand what some of the things on the prompt list mean, because I haven't finished playing Silksong. So I'm having to, like, look things up in HollowKnight.wiki and just hoping I don't spoil myself too much. I've already spoiled myself for a few things. It's okay, I don't care. This is fine. Self-imposed spoilerization, I prefer to people coming into my chat and spoiling things for me. Just because I'm prepared for it if I know I'm going into a wiki page and I might see things that I haven't done yet. That's fine. There are some secret areas that I didn't know were there. Thanks, HollowKnight.wiki. I didn't mean to look them up. Oh, beans! Anyways. Tells us I had to look up many things where I only knew the Kirsty name, not the real name. Yep, I believe it. I don't know the names of most of the little, like, enemies in the game. I don't even remember what, like, the make-believe names from Kirsty. That's a Silksong sketcher here on the text message from my person. Oh, text message from my person is, oh, there was a doggy on the bus. There was a doggy on the bus. You can see it's just, there was a doggy on the bus. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you. Absolute bestest. The bestest. Thank you. Doggy just got off with their human. Oh, bless. I hope they have a wonderful day. That's really cute. Thank you for sharing, Doggy. Mimicry says, I only know the Kirsty names are alternative. They're all just called that fucker. Yeah. Are the buses reliable around your way? More or less. More or less, generally. They, at the very least, it depends on your definition of reliability. Like, sometimes one will just, like, drop off the schedule and not turn up. But I have pretty much only experienced they do actually go the intended route. So I haven't experienced a lot of surprisers. Ellen Busso speaks soon. Have a lovely bus journey, my darling. I hope to see you very, very soon. I've had a lot of surprises with regard to, oh, this bus has turned in a direction I wasn't expecting. And at least my bus route, now, bus routes in the region vary in terms of the frequency of buses. Some bus routes, it seems, get a bus like every 30 minutes or so. Some bus routes get a bus every, like, 5. It depends on where you're traveling and what street you're on, it seems. Yeah, they're pretty okay. That being said, so tomorrow, programming note, tomorrow my Silksong stream is normal, but then I have to dash off at the end of stream because I have a hospital appointment. But the hospital appointment is not where I thought it would be. Listen, I have an attention deficit. I got a letter saying that I had an appointment on this date at this time at the radiology department. I was like, that's the radiology department of, like, the general hospital in my city, right? I've been there before. I've had this exact test done at that department in that... No! It's not at the hospital where I thought it would be. I got a text message yesterday saying, this is a reminder that you have an appointment on, sort of on this date at this time at the radiology department of this random address that looks like it's in the middle of, I don't know, some business estate in the middle of nothing in a part of the city you're really unfamiliar with and is going to take several buses to get to in probably like an hour. Good luck. You'll need it. I'm so scared. This isn't the kind of place that people submit Google reviews about. So, like, all I have to go off of is some pictures of what looks like some random office building in the middle of a business estate in a part of the city I'm not familiar with. I hate it. I'm so, like, before I was like, okay, I hate that I have to have this medical test done because medical tests suck, but okay, fine. I don't think it's going to bring up anything particularly interesting or conclusive, but like, you want to do it? Okay, yeah, let's get that done. And then it turns out it's in the middle of like Bumble the heck. What? Why? Why not? Why not the hospital that is like one bus, one nice easy bus, and then a short walk? Why not that? No, of course not. It is like at least 2 buses and then a long terrible walk through scary places. I'm unhappy and incredibly anxious about this. I don't This coupled with like the knowledge that I'm going to be in physical discomfort the entire time because it's not a comfortable test. Not looking forward to that. I'm having a lot of anxiety about it, as you can tell. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm sure it will be fine. But I'm still not looking forward to it at all. So yeah, that's that. That's what I'm doing tomorrow after stream. So I will have to end on time and dash off. Potentially end a little bit early and dash off pretty much immediately. Because I'm so scared about not being able to find this place and being late. I'm gonna end up being probably like 45 minutes early just to be safe if I can. And then, oh, also, one of the buses I need to catch to it is potentially one of the ones that only runs like every 25 minutes. So if I just miss one of those, I have to wait like 25 minutes for another one. So yeah, not looking forward to that. I'm scared. Anyways, on top of this, so I also have medical stuff is just going wild at the moment. So I might have to attend a medical place, another different medical place that is like in another city. Mimicry says, speaking of dash off, I need to go hunt some food before I forget. Please eat. Eating is important. You need nourishment to live, and you get nourishment from food. So enjoy your food. But yeah, I also have an appointment. Potentially, it depends. Yada yada yada. It's complicated. But the place that they've referred me to, once again, instead of the hospital that's like I can get to in less than half an hour, is in a completely different city to the reasonably sized metropolitan city I live in. Even though, again, there are places in the city I live in that offer this service. I know because I looked it up. But no, I'm being referred to somewhere entirely else that I've never been to. Like, I've never been to that city. So that it's gonna take a long time to get there, and it's going to be expensive. And I'm going to be lost because I've never been there before. Can I just be well? Can I just be well? Like, I swear at this point that like the stress of having to figure out stuff like how the heck am I going to get to my appointment is making me less well. Because stress is really bad for you, y'all. I don't know if you knew this, but stress is actually really bad for your overall health. And this is all making me incredibly stressed. I realize that as a person, I'm just not as inclined to and not as good at, like, taking these kinds of things in my stride. And I do wish that I could be better at that. But yeah, it ain't helping. Genuinely ain't helping. So here I am, having a nice time. Anyways, this is a relaxy stream for gentle times. I am gonna paint. Hate that for you, Sis Tells. Yeah, thank you. I do too. Appreciate the sentiment. Anyway, how's everyone else's week been? How are you going? I hope you're doing better than I am. Um, at least, at least I've made some headway on Hollow Knight Art Month. Um, and once again, this is me like over complicating things because obviously any of these like, you know, art month type 31 or 30-day art prompt challenge type month type things are for fun and for free. There is no obligation to complete any or all of the prompts. You can make them as simple or as complicated as you want as far as the prompt fills go. Like, that's all fine. And yet here I am imposing, like, you know, just ridiculous expectations on myself to produce stuff that's good. But then again, I don't, you know, I want to produce something for every day of the month because I think it's fun. But also I don't want to produce anything that I don't want to post any artwork that I don't personally feel proud of. And that I think is bad. So I'm trying to speedrun this, but I'm also trying to speedrun it in a way that, you know, I will end up with stuff that I feel like I can be proud of. And that, it turns out that is, really challenging. Especially as someone who tends to work quite slowly, who tends to take a long time to work on things. It's not the easiest. Trying to keep things simple in terms of like the colors and that kind of thing. Like keeping the backgrounds to like 1 or 2 colors at most. I do have a method that I've kind of taught myself to do. A kind of, I guess, sort of the way I interpret the art style. That's the other weird thing about this art month is that obviously like Hollow Knight, Silksong, these games are very stylized in terms of their whole aesthetic. And it's not necessarily the exact same as my aesthetic, but I try and stick somewhat close to the game aesthetic in my own work because I want it to be recognizable. But with that being said, it is weird to work in what doesn't really feel 100% organically like my own art style. It's it's interesting. I do really enjoy doing it though. Like I will. Just stupid Zote head. I don't know if I've made his antlers the right size, but I'm pretty sure they look kind of like that. And it's a stupid face. It is really fun. It is really fun to work in that art style, but yeah, it's weird. Anyways, Dan says, "Hello, I demand art." Okay, well this is in progress. Is that good? Is that okay? I hope that's okay. I am working on it. I'm gonna water this down a little bit because it's a bit too thick and too dark, and I would like it to be a little bit more to the opposite of I was gonna say opaque. No, I mean the opposite of that. I would like it to be a little bit more transparent, of an orange color, because we are on the nice warm orange stripe. Anyways, hello Dan, I hope you are well. It's lovely to see you. Welcome in. Hi. I hope this art is fine. Yes, it is. I mean, yes, it is. Oh, sorry. Yes, it is! I mean, yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. I can't believe Sammy decapitated Zote. Hey, I'm not doing anything that he didn't already do to himself, okay? I cannot wait for okay, I really hope that this artwork turns out the way that I am imagining that it will. Basically, the prompt for this one is Zotling, and my plan is to surround this I'm just gonna paint in some like blobs of gray paint in, you know, to more or less fill up this canvas. And then I'm gonna leave myself just enough space to draw in like Zote's head on top of the various blobs and try and interpret how they could be like a different shaped Zote creature based on the Eternal Ordeal. But not necessarily canonical Zote shapes. Like these are new Zote shapes. These are bonus Zotelings. Just because I think that'd be a fun challenge to do, is just to do like a whole bunch of little sort of like swatchy blobs of paint, and then try and turn those blobs into like Zote creature shapes. I think that would be fun. If you don't think that would be fun, I'm sorry that you have no joy in your life. I'm sorry that you live such a sad existence. That sucks for you. I'm great. Anyways, that's the plan. There's a lot for next month artwork wise that I have zero plans for. I thought about one of the prompts is just Hornet, and I was like, can I try and draw Hornet, but in a way that's like that feels more like my other non-Hollow Knight art, that's stylized in the way that I typically stylize things? And the answer is I have zero clue how to do that. I don't know. Brain don't work like that. I tend to... Really, I feel like Hollow Knight is kind of the only thing I do that's like fan art of like animated type characters, because animation is already stylized. And I don't always have good brain at like being able to visualize how that character would translate into like my own sort of stylized work. I don't know, my mind's eye is really vivid sometimes, and then other times it's like, sorry bro, I got nothing. I don't know why. It's really weird. Hornet kissing Spock, says Dan. Dan, I feel like neither of them would enjoy that. I truly feel like neither of those two parties would. It would be two people kissing each other, but they're both like, ew, make it stop, you know? Neither of them would be having a good time. I feel like Spock. Neither of them would emote that much about it, because neither of them are quite that like openly ew. But I don't think they'd enjoy that. I don't think they would. I mean, I haven't seen all of Strange New Worlds, but it does seem like Spock is, I don't know. It seems like he does date like a number of girls in that show, so you know. It's not for their pleasure, it's for ours, says Dan. No. Yours, baby, I don't ship it. No disrespect if you do, of course. Like, that's your business. You can ship what you want. I don't care. I do have as you know, I do have the ships that I like to sail away on. Where are they? Here they are. But then again, I do believe that these two enjoy it, so... Spoilers for a TV show that came out like a year and a half ago, but they did in at least one universe get married. So, yay. Anyways. What if Hallownest / Farloom was just like a planet in the Star Trek universe, and they show up and they're just like, look at these tiny little sophisticated bug cities. That's neat. Okay, next adventure. That would be amazing. That would probably be terrible. But anyways, it's time for another set of green blocks. I think I might actually get through a not too terrible proportion of this, of this doodad today. Oh, also, yeah, I've been very cough-y for the last few days. I don't think I've come down with anything, but I've just had kind of a cough. I think I had someone come around to set up broadband, so obviously on Monday, so obviously on the weekend I spent a lot of time just like furiously cleaning and dusting spaces that they were going to need to access. And oh boy, I hate dusting because it puts dust into the air, and when there's dust in the air, my airways rebel. My airways do not cope well with dust, and so my response to this is that if there's an area that I don't need to dust, I just don't. It's really bad, but I did also learn after moving into this house that having a whole bunch of, like, figurine type things that, you know, are extremely lightweight, but also have a lot of tiny little nooks and crannies. They are magnets, you know, this plus, like, any little, like, tchotchkes, knickknacks, bric-a-brac, Funko Pops that we bought back in the, you know, the early 20-teens when we still liked Funko Pops of things. Lego. This stuff gets so dusty and it is such a ball ache to clean. Oh my god. It's the worst. And belatedly realized that the best way to deal with these is to have cabinets that, like, that are fully enclosed, rather than just, like, standard bookshelves. But those are really expensive. And we already have bookshelves. So, yeah. The answer is just every once in a while you gotta give your Legos a bath. Which is terrible and really annoying. Because if I try to hoover the Legos to get the dust off of them, the Lego just goes up the hoover too. Do not want. It's the worst. Anyways, I hate everything. Moriak says, let's remember, Spock doesn't get horny unless it's the special time. He gets mega horny and has to go home and brood about it. Brood and do hand-to-hand combat with his captain/bestie. I love that episode exists. The episode that launched, like, 1 million fanzines. Which I think is so important. Thank you so much to the Star Trek fans of the past for launching the existence of being fans of things as we know it. That's neat. Anyways. There was a time. I have an anecdote for you. I hope that's okay. There was a time. No joke, says Moriax. That's the episode that created modern shipping culture and arguably modern fandom as we know it. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It is instrumental in the existence of, like, fanness as we know it. So thank you. Thank you, Star Trek episode whatever amok time. Thank you so much. We owe so much to the things that happened in amok time. What a great episode. Truly it is. It is a great episode as well. You learn some really whack things about Vulcans. Those people have an interesting and beautiful culture. And I'm very happy for them. Anyways. What was I saying? Oh yes, an anecdote. An anecdote about Star Trek, kind of. Well, it is an anecdote. Oh, I don't know if I should tell this anecdote because technically it has spoilers for a movie that came out, I think, before I was born. Okay, I'll tell you when to mute the mic if you don't want spoilers. But basically, some years ago, this is before I started streaming, I had a podcast with some friends of ours where we discussed film. And most of the time we were looking at, like, basically the most popular piece of Hollywood cinema from basically the birth of the talkies to the present day. And we would choose a random year and we would watch that movie and we would talk about the movie. But we did have a series of effectively dealer's choice episodes where each of us would get to pick, like, a favorite film and then talk about it. I think we saw Alien, and we discussed Alien in one episode because of that. And when it came to me to pick a movie, I was like, oh, geez, there's too many. What am I going to pick? And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick Star Trek the Motion Picture. Because I was in a bit of a Trek era at that point as well. And I decided, yeah, I'm going to pick Star Trek the Motion Picture. It is a flawed piece of cinema, I think, in many ways, but I think it's also a neat piece of cinema in many ways. It is foundationally important for what followed, in terms of Star Trek and stuff, and I think it's an interesting moment in terms of like science fiction on film as well. Do I think it's the best? No, I do not. I think it is a deeply flawed piece of filmmaking, but I think it's really interesting. Um, Now, I didn't realize at the time that some of the at least one of the panelists in my podcast, our podcast, one of my fellow hosts, had not seen all of the original series of Star Trek. I'm so sorry. I hit the camera. Is the camera okay? I hope it's okay. Anyways, um, had watched was making their way through the original series of Star Trek, like, at the time that we were watching the motion picture and recording this episode. And they were like, yeah, I figured that it would be okay, because this is the kind of media that doesn't have, like, major spoilers in it or anything like that. It's so episodic that, like, everything pretty much gets reset to the status quo at the end of any installment. And I assume that's the same for the movies as well, so I'm not concerned about it. It's not like they're gonna kill off Spock or anything, she said. And we all just sat there like, I'm so glad I didn't pick Star Trek 2! I'm so glad I didn't say let's watch Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. I did not say that to her because I did not want to spoil Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan for her. Because, of all the things you could have said! Are you... Oh my god! Oh no! Honey! You got a big storm coming! It was very funny. Anyways, Con! I can't do it any louder than that, or I will break my voice, and I don't want to shatter your eardrums. Yes. Inarguably, I think a better movie than Star Trek: The Motion Picture is The Wrath of Khan, but I chose the motion picture for some insane reason. A little bit louder now, says Crikey. No, genuinely, my airways can't handle it. Also, hi, Crikey. It's good to see you. Welcome in. Hello. Tal says, my memory of it is that it was ambitious, but not so watchable. It was, God, the pacing is just, the pacing is troublesome in that movie. If you have not seen it, prepare yourself for something that feels like it moves at an incredibly slow pace. To be honest, you can summarize the story, I think, pretty succinctly. I won't summarize it here for you. In fact, there's a man on YouTube who recently did a review of it. You should just go watch that instead. But I will say it is very slow in places. There are bits where, like, the bit where they're sort of panning across the ship, and it is no joke, like 2 minutes. It feels like 10 minutes of just slow panning across the exterior of the ship before they get on it in their little shuttle going to dock to get into the ship. And it's like, yes, I understand that you're very proud of this model, and you should be. It is beautiful. But, good lord, this did not need to be that long. This is parts of the movie that you could have spent on other, like, actual bits of the plot that kind of are a bit rushed. In contrast, why are you doing this? My biggest complaint, however, and I understand why they did it, but my god, I wish they hadn't done it, is the uniforms are crap in this movie. Just absolute un-Star Trek-y boo-boo garbage. And I understand why they did it. But you go from, like, the 60s, the animated series in the early 70s, to the late 70s. I understand, like, aesthetics have changed. Ideas of what sci-fi should look like aesthetically have changed. That's fine. But you go from having these very sort of, like, vibrant, color-coded uniforms, and you go to these incredibly bland, unflattering, like, beige jumpsuits. Nobody looks good in these beige jumpsuits. And to be honest, it's been 10 years since the original series was on. You know, these cast members are getting older, and you're putting them in form-fitting beige jumpsuits. It's not a good look. It's just not. No one... These are flattering to not even, like, the best figured people. Nobody looks good in these. They're so bad. Just, oh my god, at least throw some color on those jumpsuits. Get some color in there. Give it, like, a stripe. Give it some kind of, like, a bit of color blocking so we can see, oh, that person's in engineering because they've got, like, you know, like, the top half of their shirt is red, which is kind of the kind of thing that they ended up doing later on. Which, you know, it's so much more effective and doesn't look like crap. I just hate them. They're just so bad. Nobody looks good in them. I hate them. Anyways. Just the worst. Just the worst. It just feels like instead of being like one of the leading, you know, like genre-defining works of like modern science fiction, it felt like it was so much taking its cues from other works of science fiction like 2001, etc., etc. That it didn't feel enough like it's definitely got the hallmarks of being a Star Trek thing still, but there's so much that feels like it's trying to be something else, something more serious, something more cinematic, and it's like you're not that though. You're not. Just lean into that. So much better in the subsequent movies when they got like the nice flattering red jackets. Those were great. I love those. Anyways. All right. I'm catching up with chat. A little bit louder now, says Cranky. What's that song? How's the tiling? This is gonna take forever, but I'm getting there. We might even get it done today. Who knows? Dan says, I'll have to take your word to it. I watched the original trilogy and the prequels and nothing after that. You know what? That's fair. I was gonna make a reference to something in the sequel trilogy, but I don't want to spoil it for you just in case you ever do. Parts of the spoiler trilogy were great. Not the spoiler trilogy, the sequel trilogy. Parts of the sequel trilogy were great. And then there was the third one. Anyways. Do you think that was the joke Spaceballs was making at the beginning of the film? Oh, for sure. Cranky says, damn, Boo Boo Garbage, they're so bad. They're so bad. No one looks good in them. They're so ugly. How do you take... And some of these people are beautiful. Some of these people are, like, beautiful actors. And you're putting them in just the ugliest jumpsuits. It's mean. It's mean. Anyways. Picking up keys for my new apartment in an hour and a half. Congratulations! I hope that your new place is amazing. I've pre-written down my questions, so I think I can handle it. You got this, my friend. I'm very proud of you. Moriax says, do they have the weird ribbed turtleneck thing that I hate? Oh, yeah. What's the turtlenecks? I'm not a turtleneck enjoyer, like, at the best of times. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't enjoy... I like a V-neck, personally. You know? Like, I was a university student in the early 2000s when everyone was wearing those really deep V-neck t-shirts. I don't know, bring those back. Put Starfleet in those deep V-neck t-shirts from the early 2000s. Those slapped. Anyways. Not gonna lie, I love putting beautiful people in ugly clothes, says Cranky. I much prefer putting myself, like a troll, in beautiful outfits. But that's just me. And also, if I can't think of anything to paint, I will oftentimes just draw, like, one of my Blorbos in an outfit I own and like. Is that normal? I don't know. I'm just like, who would wear this outfit that I have in my wardrobe? Oh, I know. Odo, Deep Space Nine. And then I'll just draw that. And that's just for me. It helps break my art block. Anyways. Cranky says, not gonna lie, having nonverbal days stacked on top of speaking in a second language is a 1-2 punch of social difficulty. Oh, you poor bean. Oh, you poor bean. I feel that. I was having trouble at the top of stream remembering how to, like, speak to people because I hadn't spoken to anyone since, like, 8 this morning. But having to do that in, like, more than one language is rough. You can do it. I believe in you. I fully do. You got this, my friend. And this is the green bit of the maquette. Anyways, what else was I doing today? I watched a video review of the terrible food that that Mr. Beast makes. If you don't know him, he has a YouTube channel and he's really popular with 12-year-olds. He has way too much money and I don't personally like him or his content. So yeah. Anyways, okay, we've done another green stripe. What's next? Yellow. Yellow is next. Hooray. Cool. Yellow's easy. Okay. Anyways, we've also got an ad break coming up in 2 minutes, but I will wet the yellow. I will activate the yellow paint, so we have something to do when we returneth. If you don't know, all of these paints are various colors that I've mixed with some, I think it's, was it raw umber? I think it might have been raw umber. So, you know, like a kind of beigey, like light brown color to give it this nice, I would say a very sort of like spring or fall in the 1970s kind of vibe for me anyways. These sort of like, you know, sort of soft greens and browns, and it's all a little bit brownish. It's Frog and Toad. And I love Frog and Toad, so I'm happy with that. Anyways, yeah. I'm sorry in advance if you see ads. I'm gonna put down one yellow block before I disappear, at least. I am trying to move forward on this and hopefully maybe get some of it done today. I would really like to finish this before we start Hollow Knight Art Month in May. Because for the month of May, for the portion of the month that I will actually be able to be here doing stuff, I will be doing paintings for Hollow Knight Art Month. Because that's kind of all I have time to do in May. Yippee skippy. At some point, I've also got stuff I need to prepare for a shop update. Because I'm going to need to do a summer shop update. Because, yeah. But, I don't know when. Because I haven't given myself enough time. I had art block for the first portion of this month. And now I'm kind of speed running Hollow Knight Art Month prep. I've got this piece to finish. I need to figure out what the heck I'm doing about that. Okay, the ad break warning has disappeared, so I better stop before the ads start. I'll be back very shortly. You're not going to miss anything. Enjoy the BRB screen. And BRB, everybody. Come back. Hi. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around if you have. It's nice to see you. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be here. So I had some thoughts while I was away. I hope it's okay if I pivot topics, but I think whatever it is we were talking about probably has ran down. But how's everybody doing? I hope you've had good weeks. I am really sorry that I missed you on Monday, but my internet was being installed, and that was a little bit disruptive to, you know, the network. Anyways, was just thinking about the TISM as I do. Because while I was on break, I scrolled YouTube and I saw a YouTube short about someone talking about autism and disability and how it is a disability. And you might be thinking, well, of course it is, but it's also there's complications. I think in the way that we think about it, just like as a person, and also like culturally, there is that whole sort of like that positivity, you know, sort of like, you're not disabled. It's like, no, but it is though. It is like, if it is genuinely not disabling at all for you, it's probably because you have the supports and, you know, accommodations in place that you need to not really notice, which is awesome. And I love that for you. And I think a lot of us do, you know, like if you're asked at like an assessment or whatever, you know, like, hey, do you struggle with this thing? And you're like, no, because see, I have a system where, and you've set up this like, you know, very complicated set of accommodations for yourself so that you don't struggle with that thing. But if that system was taken away, then you would. The system exists because you would struggle with it. Then the answer is yes, you do. But it's hard to see that if you have an effective accommodation system in place. My point being, there's a lot of positivity that you see that's like, you know, it's a superpower and all that. And it's like, that can be like troubling positivity, and I think it speaks to there's this I think notion that like disability equals just a bad time. Like, you know, it's misery, it's suffering, it's things not working as they should. And it's weird if you like anything about the whatever it is about you that is a disability. It's weird, right? So saying that, like, for instance, if I acknowledge that autism is a disability, but also there are things about me that are like very much traits of that I love, you know, that I would not want to be different. Then it's like, oh, well then how is it just, you know, but there are also aspects of it that are genuinely disabling and make my life a lot more difficult. Like yesterday, waiting for the bus to go to the grocery store and get groceries and just quietly trying not to have a meltdown because everything was just a little bit too much, you know? That's not a good time. But, you know, on the other hand, there are lots of things about myself that I genuinely am happy with and love and enjoy. And you can be both. But I think it's difficult to kind of talk about these things in a way that makes sense if you haven't really experienced it. It feels like there's a dissonance there. Because it's like, yeah, this is a disability and it's a terrible time. Okay, well, if you were offered the magical ability to just not have this disability at all, would you? Nope. No! Because then parts of me that I really like would change. And I wouldn't recognize myself anymore. And that would feel weird and bad. I don't want that, actually. And I think that's very confusing to people who don't have that experience. That it can be both. It can be something important that you like, you know, that you appreciate about yourself, and also something that gives you greater struggles than everybody else. And yeah. Anyways, I don't remember where I was going with that. But there we are. Anyways, this stripe is yellow. And oh my god, I'm so sorry. And also my voice is going. I made the mistake of having a popcorn snack about an hour before I started stream, so it's entirely possible that there are still, like, latent popcorn seeds that are stuck in the back of my throat that will not leave. I'm gonna chug my tea a little more. Thank you for the hydrate. Much appreciated, Tals. I had a big ol' sip of my lemony gingery tea. It is not the gingeriest. But that's one of the things about tea that's like a blend of different ingredients, is that sometimes you will get a portion that has more bits of ginger in it, and then sometimes you'll get a portion that has less bits of ginger in it. And this one doesn't feel like there's very much ginger in it. It mostly just kind of tastes lemony and a little bit of yerba mate, and I'm not really getting any ginger, which is unfortunate, because I do like a spicy ginger situation. I do. Ah, shoot! I knew there was something. That I looked at in the house and I was like, ah, geez, I'm running out of this thing. I gotta pick up more. It was ginger. It was ginger root. I didn't buy any ginger root yesterday. Ah, shoot. Well, I don't need ginger root for tonight. We're having kids menu. My moderator/spouse bought a box of bird's eye potato waffles a couple weeks ago that are in the freezer. And we want to defrost the freezer, so we're trying to clear out the ingredients that we have in the freezer at the moment to make space. So that we can defrost, and not have to worry about, you know, too many things going in like a cooler box while the freezer is being cleaned. So we're trying to use up things that we have that are frozen. One of the things that we have that are frozen are bird's eye potato waffles. So we're having those for dinner. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Bird's eye potato waffles are not my favorite potato configuration. If I'm gonna have a frozen potato thing, I would generally gravitate towards either a chip or a hash brown, but the waffles are fine. I think it's like the mashed potato that's been reformed into a shape texture is not my favorite, but I will cope. I will be okay. It is potato. I have no complaints. I also don't know what I'm serving with it. Something else that's frozen, I guess. I don't think we have any, like, fish fingers feels like a natural choice, but I don't think we have those. We have, I think, we have sausages, but I'm using some of the frozen sausages tomorrow to make sausage pasta. So I don't necessarily want to have sausages tonight. I do have these little, they're called I don't even know if they still make them because they don't have them at my local supermarket anymore. They went on like reduced to clear and we just bought them out. Called air bites, and they're basically little, they look like chicken nuggies, but they're filled with like vegetable. So they've got like they're nuggy shaped and they're covered in breadcrumbs, gluten-free breadcrumbs, which I love for me, but they're filled with like a seasoned mix of like pumpkin and spinach and peas or something, and it's really nice. It's kind of like if you took the filling for like a vegetable samosa and made it into a nugget instead, and I'm into that. But yeah, ooh, Tal says I have some hash browns in my freezer. Maybe I'll use them for dinner. That sounds delicious. I love a hash brown situation. I do. I also love, in this country they call them hash brown bites, but they're the same thing that we had in the old country, but we call them taters or tater tots. Heckin' love those things. Something about the texture of the potato in those is really delightful. Also, I figure they're reasonably healthy because when you cook potato and then you chill it or freeze it, some of the starch in the potato converts into a source of like indigestible fiber that's really good for your digestive system, but also doesn't get absorbed into like doesn't affect your blood sugar the way that other carbohydrates do. By that logic, I feel like frozen potato-y stuff, like bird's eye potato waffles, are technically a healthy choice. Don't tell me they're not. Don't tell me that. Don't rob me of another source of joy. But I mean, then there are grifters on short form video content that will tell you that like grapes are poison. So also don't listen to people's health opinions from the internet because yeah, lots of people are full of garbage, and if someone shows you a seemingly healthy ingredient, if they show you like a bunch of grapes and they're like, these grapes are poison, and then go on to explain to you why, and then want to sell you some kind of supplement, they're full of crap. Don't buy anything from them. Generally good. If someone tells you something that you generally think of as like a basic healthy food, like a fruit or a vegetable, or I don't know, yogurt or beans or something, is actually super bad for you, and here's why. And then they want to sell you like their smoothie mix. They are a grifter selling snake oil and should not be listened to. So there. Anyways. Sorry, I'm having spicy opinions today. I don't know why. Spicy opinion time, apparently. I don't know. I guess I'm having kind of a spicy week. What with my having an appointment in God knows where. I still don't really know how to get there. I'm so scared. You ever have an appointment like that? Like it's like you have a meeting or you have like a doctor's appointment or something, and it's just like there's no way this address is legit, or like you have to like a government office type thing, and you're like, there's no way, the address is just like, you know, third storage unit along under this like motorway bypass, and you're like, this can't be legit government office. And then you get there and you walk in and it's just a government office in there, and you're like, what how is this where this is? What's happening? Am I safe right now? You know, it's so weird. It's so weird. Anyways, I likewise had a situation years ago when I had to take my life in the UK test to get indefinite residence in the United Kingdom. The test center where the where the Life in the UK test was in this, like, it was in, like, a weird office in a modular building that you had to get to by going round the back of a little supermarket, and there was, like, an external lift that went up to the roof of the little supermarket, and then on top of the roof of the little was a bunch of, like, modular buildings, and you had to go to, and there was like this one, like, signpost on a very temporary looking post pointing you towards which of the modular buildings hosted the Life in the UK test center. And it all felt so sketch and so unsafe and so, I'm going to get murdered here. But it wasn't. It was just a little room. You know, there was a little waiting room where you had to sit for your name to be called to go in to take the test, and then you just sat down in a room full of computers, and they sat you down at a computer, and you had 30 minutes to complete the test. It took me 5 minutes to complete the test. I put my hand up to say, hey, I'm done, can I leave now? They were like, okay, and then I had to go sit in the waiting room again, and then, like, 10 minutes later, he was like, okay, you got every answer correct, here's your certificate. Goodbye. And that was it. And then they just emailed my, like, reference number to me to say that I took the test and I passed it. And that was it. And I didn't die. But it was really scary. And yeah, anyways. Why are these things like this? I don't know. Maybe it's just me who's just weirdly nervous about these things, but it just feels like, I feel like I can't possibly be in the right place. And then you are, and you're like, how? What is this? What is this? Anyways, Tal says it isn't spicy, it's just true. Diet grifters are terrible. They are terrible. They are terrible. And people, there are people out there who are more inclined to believe someone who has a TikTok account than someone who has, you know, like a master's degree or a doctorate in... And now, don't get me wrong, having educational qualifications does not necessarily make you an expert. You will see people who are, like, you know, on TikTok being like, here's what you should never buy in the supermarket, and they're walking through the supermarket and they don't have a shirt on, and they're just picking up, like, packs of ground beef and being like, never buy this, it's full of this, that, and the other poison, and blah, 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 pasteurized milk. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, apparently they have a qualification because they're a chiropractor, so they're not even an expert in nutrition. Why are you talking about this? You know? Also, I don't trust chiropractors anyways. But yeah, like, the grift is terrible. If you ever see a piece of information, you're like, this feels off to me. Just... You know, I mean, this is a good general rule of thumb. If you receive a piece of information and it just feels, if it feels either off in terms of, like, this doesn't sound like it's true, or this sounds too, like it's leaning too hard into potentially, like, biases that I might have, just... Look at the source of the information. Look at the source of the information. Have they, you know, if they've cited research, is the research bad? Because sometimes the research is bad. There was some reporting I saw recently on, like, staggering statistics about, I won't get into the details because it gets into stuff that might be, that was a little disturbing. But the research was, according to the headline, it created some alarming conclusions about younger men and their attitudes towards women. But if you... The thing is, so the headline was like, 98% of men aged blah 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 believe these really horribly misogynistic things. But then if you actually look at the research, it doesn't say that. It was like, it was something like, you know, we specifically surveyed this specific set of people, and it was clear that, like, the sample size was going to be biased towards getting a specific result. So, was it surprising that they got that specific result in that case? No. Because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a broad enough sample size of the general population or whatever it was. It was, not... The research... you know, did not bear out the conclusion that, like, you know, whatever bad conclusion it was. And the researchers were up front. In fact, they said in the study, you know, this does not mean that, like, you know, 98% of the general population believes blah, blah, blah. You know, so yeah, if something seems like a really shocking conclusion, and it's being reported in a headline, or is being told to you by some rando on TikTok, oh my god. Just do a little reflecting and maybe a little bit of research before just believing it. You know? Like, I've known people in my life who are just like, oh man, you shouldn't be eating that, it's really unhealthy. I read in a blog that is really bad for you for blah blah blah. Or, I'm only eating this now because I read a blog that said it was... And it's like, you read it in a blog. Who wrote that blog? Did the blog cite their sources? Was there a bibliography? Or was it just someone who wants to get your ad revenue and doesn't necessarily know of whence they speak? Come on. Come on. Anyways. But I recognize, you know, like, maybe I should be checking my privilege here, because I do, you know, like, I have a reasonable amount of higher education, in which, and specific branches of higher education that, you know, really, focused on critical thinking and critical reading of, you know, various types of texts, whether it be, like, you know, classic literature or contemporary media. Not everybody has that background, so I realize that I'm at a slight advantage here, but my god, I wish people would employ that critical thinking more. Because there are so many people who don't, and who just see, oh, well, I saw a study that said... Did you read the study, or did you just read the news headline? Please. Anyways, I'm so spicy today. Tells us media misrepresenting studies in this economy. It's more likely than you think. Oh, it's way more likely than you think. Media wants you to consume their articles, so they want to, you know, like, they want to draw you in with something that they think is going to make you want to read the thing, even if it's a little bit misrepresentative. But the problem is, a lot of people do not get past the headline. They just read the headline and they're like, whoa, mama, that's a bad thing, and don't actually learn anything else about it, or what's inaccurate about that headline. Anyways. Well, that's the other thing I did this week. Speaking of reporting and talking about things and presenting yourself as someone with knowledge on a topic, is I did some filming for an upcoming YouTube video where I sat in front of my camera and talked about stuff. This was really challenging because this was Tuesday, I believe, and I had just the worst cough. Just the worst cough. Like, my airways would just cease to work. And I tried to keep myself well, beveraged throughout, but it was challenging filming that, and not having to stop to cough every 2 minutes. Maybe it was the wrong time to film it, but there never seems to be a right time to film stuff, so I kind of just gotta do it, you know? So I just did it, and I don't know if that clippage is going to be any good, but hopefully it'll be good enough. My YouTube output is minimal. I'm trying to get more on board with the idea that perfect is the enemy of done. And so I would rather have a video that I can share that contains the information that I would like it to contain than have no video because I've spent way too long laboring over it and it's never going to get completed. Because there's never a perfect day for filming. Either my throat is a little sore, or it's cloudy so the lighting is bad, or I just washed my hair and my hair is wet. I filmed this on wet hair with a sore throat and a cough. Oh well. Hopefully it's fine. Hopefully I enunciated my words well enough. And if it looks like I'm looking at the teleprompter too often, hopefully I can fill in with a lot of photos and graphics and stuff. So you're not looking at my face the whole time. You probably don't want to look at my face the whole time anyways. I did pop a link to my YouTube channel in the chat, if that's something that you think you might be interested in checking out. I don't know if you are. It is a niche place. But I have fun. And I hope that you have fun too. Okay. I'm almost done with this sea moquette. We've made it like a ton of progress today. I don't know. I'm on fire. Maybe it's because I've been speedrunning Hollow Knight Art Month that I'm actually used to doing things at relative speed, because I am, as I said earlier, trying to speed run my way through that bad boy. And it's going okay, I think. I am worried that I'm going to end up with some artworks that I really don't like. I don't know. I am coming out of an art... I'm sure I'm coming out of it, but I definitely was having an art block before that prompt list was released. So that's a fun time to try and emerge from. But at least I have this to, like, force myself out of it, I suppose. Yeah. Don't get art block. It sucks. It sucks. It's so annoying, and it makes you feel bad as an artist. Even though it's something that, like, I am entirely sure that, like, almost every artist experiences art block at some point. Sometimes it goes on for longer than others. Usually for me, it's a few weeks, if I do. Just not too bad. But, it can be rough. Especially when you're like, okay, I'm going to break my art block by doing this, and then you do it, and then you're not happy with the output that you've done. It's like, it makes it worse. It's just like, oh no, well, I guess I've produced my last work of quality, and I'll never do anything good ever again, which is nonsense. You know. Like, this painting I think is cute. I don't know if this painting might be bad. This might end up being a bad painting. We don't know yet. I have to trust the process my way through it, and then see what we end up with, I guess. I'm doing my best. But yeah. Anyways. I just hope I can finish this before the end of the month, because once the end of the month comes, I'm gonna be a little bit preoccupado. Anyways. So what's the last row? It's gonna be yellow. Okay. Okay, wizard. The last row will be yellow. That's fine. Anyways. What's for dinner, y'all? What are you doing for your din-dins tonight? I am doing, as I mentioned, kids menu with potato waffles. And something else. And also a side of asparagus, because it's still the asparagus season. It is the Spargelzeit. So have to take full advantage of that. My moderator / spouse is home, so I'm gonna go say hello to him. I'll be back in just a second, chat. Hi, baby. Hi, Samsies. What did you get? I love you. Marry me. How was your day, Blossom? Alright. Good. Glad. All things considered, indeed. Are you feeling better today than yesterday?
Yeah. Oh shit.
What's up?
Wasn't the time of shoes off I was going to do the...
Yeah. Is it? Can you slip into some slippers with some sandals or something? Or do you want to just do it later? Up to you. Just in case you get some rest. I will break for dinner in a bit. I love you. Hi everybody, I'm back. Hello. Okay, what's next? Oh yeah, yellow. Okay. Cool. I made so much orange paint and I didn't need that much of it. Oh no. Oh well, it's fine. I shall find other uses for the orange. Orange is a fairly important color for the London Overground. Oh yeah, I don't think I even introduced what this painting is to anyone who's like arriving here and hasn't seen my working on it before. So the reason that I'm doing this complicated pattern on these seats is that this is a London Overground train, and this is what the seat maquette looks like on the London Overground. We've done some theorizing as to why a lot of public transit seat design tends to be these kind of complex, busy patterns, and I do think that part of it is because since there's a lot going on, it doesn't show wear and tear as quickly. But also some of it is just quite iconic, I think, and looks really cool. My favorite, and I've talked about this before on stream, is the one, like I think it's the S-Stock maquette, which is the one that looks like little licorice all sorts, representing the different colors of the District, Circle, Metropolitan, Hammersmith, and City lines of the London Underground. I think that one's really, really fun. But I really like this. Now, I haven't 100% faithfully represented this one because it is just difficult to paint. But it is more or less this quite complicated little design of weird sort of offset rectangular shapes that kind of remind me of Tetris blocks in shades of brown, yellow, and green and orange. Another thing to note, now I don't know if other places do this, but I know that on the London trains, so like the Overground, Underground, Liz line, etc., they will have like the standard seat pattern design, and then they will have a modified color scheme of the seat pattern design to denote which seats are priority seats. So like the seats that are quite close to the exits, that are meant to be reserved for like people with reduced mobility, people with physical disabilities, people who are heavily pregnant. And if it's, you can sit there, but if it's a busy train and someone gets on and they clearly, sort of need a bit of assistance, you're meant to give up your seat to them if you are, an able-bodied individual. I remember the time I was in London last year, I believe it was. I was on a quite busy underground train. I think, was it the Jubilee line? I don't remember, but I was on a quite busy underground train, and I've got some shopping with me. I'm dressed in what I thought was a really cute outfit. I was wearing like a cute skirt and a little linen apron on top of it. But I guess it had kind of like the waistline of the apron had kind of like ridden up to like very sort of just under like my bust. And it was quite a voluminous garment. This gentleman who was sat next to where I was standing was like trying to give his seat up to me, and I was like, no, I'm fine. I was getting off in a couple of stops and I didn't want to make a guy get up because like, whatever, I'm fine, I can stand. But he was like insistent. He was like, no, it's okay, you can sit if you want. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And afterwards I was like, oh God, did he think I was pregnant? I'm just fat. Oh no. And I'm so embarrassed. Because I think he thought that I was pregante, but I'm not pregante. I'm just a bit round. And I was wearing a quite voluminous skirt. Oh no. Because I think he was a bit confused as to why I wasn't taking his seat. And I was like, it's fine, I can stand, I don't mind. But yeah, I think I think he thought I was having a baby. But no, I'm just fat.
Not pregante, just gigante.
My moderator / spouse just said, not pregante, just a gigante. Love you too. Sorry. Hello, Katie. Welcome in. It's lovely to see you. Hello. Well, apparently I still have my cough, so that's fun. Anyways, hi. Welcome on in. Okay, now the other thing that I need to do, Because obviously, like, this is done now. Or is it? It's not. I need to reactivate my brown paint. Because I need some brown paint. Because the yellow squares are not just yellow squares, they have kind of a bit of a stripe to them. And I'm going to keep this as simplistic as possible, just for my own little, stupid little mental health, really. But they've got like little stripes on them, so I'm going to put the little stripes onto the yellow blocks, because I think it's cute. Honestly, mostly because I think it's cute. Oh, and other news. I should unbox for you. I treated myself to some new paints. Because I am allowed to have nice things from time to time. That's fine. Also, they were relatively inexpensive. I hope that doesn't... I don't... Like, I hear good things about these paints, but I did also note that, wow, some other brands are way more expensive than these. I hope this doesn't mean that they're not very good. But I'm sure they are good. I'm sure they are. But that always does make me a little bit nervous. I don't want to buy the most expensive things because I don't have that kind of money. But I also would like to buy art supplies that I feel like, you know, will work well. And I have experienced art supplies that don't work very well. Case in point. Now these were obviously like maximum cheap, but the I can't even get them out of the thing. These paints that came with like a little Pokemon figurine painting kit that came with a magazine, garbage. Absolute garbage. Just trash. And the thing is, like, a child's painting is probably going to be a bit sort of, you know, imprecise and not brilliant. But but I think, you know, again, even like as a good painter, I found or like, you know, like a semi-decent painter, I found myself incredibly hampered by the quality of those paints because it was just absolute dog poop. And that really made it difficult to enjoy because they were really like chalky, and if you tried to layer it at all, the layer before would just sort of lift off, but like also when it dried, it wanted to like flake. It was just bad. It was just a terrible time. So, yeah. Anyways. But yeah, the two worries. It's not expensive. Is it any good? It is expensive. Is it overpriced? Says Talt. Yes, exactly, yes. So, anyways, here's what I got. Not just these 3 tubes, that they packaged them in boxes of 3, but Holbein Artist Gouache. And I got a few colors to play with. Here, I won't take them all. The eternal question, does price point indicate quality, says Katie. I don't know. You would hope so, but honestly, I think there's a certain cutoff point where, like, if it's any more expensive than this, you're really not going to notice that big of a difference in terms of quality. But there are also definitely sort of bits where it's sort of like it steps up quite a bit if you pay just a little bit more money for certain things. Like, you know, if you get the cheapest watercolor paints possible, you're going to have an okay time, but you're probably not going to have a great time. Because generally the cheapest watercolor paints possible are going to have a not very good pigment load, you know? So we're going to work harder to get the vibrancy and saturation of color that you're looking for. Which might end up meaning that you just use more product. So it ends up not being that much of a savings anyways. I would say, honestly, if you're an adult starting out deciding whether or not you want to use a specific art medium, go for like something that's mid-range, you know? Don't spend a stupid amount of money, but for instance, like I wanted to try using colored pencils because I hadn't really used colored pencils since I was like a student, right? And so I bought a set of colored pencils that I think ran me about £20. I could have gotten, like Crayola colored pencils or whatever, but I'm like, I'm not convinced they're going to be that good because they are for a child. And the ones I got are fine. It turns out I don't mega enjoy using colored pencils as a medium, so they've kind of sat untouched. But, I'm glad I learned that with something that I can tell is of a reasonable quality. It blends pretty well, and it's got good vibrancy, and they're fine. Anyways, so I got myself some tubes of gouache paint because I haven't used a lot of gouache paint, and I've been wanting to do that for a while. This is Violet. Have I used any of them yet? No, because now that I have them, I'm scared. Also, once again, my camera being an absolute so-and-so. This is, for me anyways, on my monitor, if I look at this color is showing up as very, like, blue. Like, this looks like ultramarine. Whereas in real life, it's definitely, like, a bluish violet. Wild. Anyways, Katie says, side note, I have my phone above my computer keyboard and tried to type on my phone using the computer keyboard. Oh my god, Katie, the number of times I do that. Or sometimes I'll have, like, my phone and it's sort of, like, propped up against my computer monitor. And I will go to, like, try and tap my computer screen, which is not a touch screen. So, like, yeah, same. Crazy. Looks very blue, yeah, says Tells. I don't know why. It's just, for some reason, something like, this color is 100% faithful on my camera monitor. It looks exactly like this. This is cork yellow, and this is the yellow it looks like. But the violet, it really struggled with. I don't know why. This is patina. It looks really, to be honest, the tube looks really, like, I can barely tell that this is green. This is actually, the color itself is supposed to be sort of like a bluish green, like patina. But for some reason, the tube color is so dark, I almost see it as black. Like, it's an incredibly dark green. But that's 3 of them. But anyways, yes, I have gouache paints now to play with, and I'm nervous. Because I haven't really played with them that much, and I don't know what I'm doing. So, yay! Also, there was a purple that I wanted to get in that range, but they were sold out of it, so I ended up getting quinacridone violet from Schmincke instead. And it was like, this cost twice as much as the Holbein paints. I have no idea if I'm going to notice twice as quality of a paint from it, but, I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these yet. I have some ideas, but I don't know. I'm scared. Katie says the patina one, I'm seeing black on the tube. Yeah, I mean, there is also, like, a square of black, but, like, they're supposed to be dark. I can barely tell it's dark green. Maybe my eyes are dying. I don't know. Anyways, Pigeon, hello! Pigeon says, I use gouache all the time and it's a learning curve, but not as scary as you think. I think I'm just intimidated because it's new. Like, it's not... Like, it's fine, and I think it will be fine, and I'm looking forward to some of the utility of it specifically that you don't so much get from watercolor, like it's more layerable, and you can get greater opacity with it, and I think that this is fun, and that's something that I think would be really fun to play with. So I'm looking forward to playing with it. But yeah. So we'll figure that out at some point. But I am also nervous, because I recently took a tube of paint that I was saving for special occasions because it's hard to get. It has specific pigments in it that I believe are discontinued, so I'm, like, scared. I don't want to run out of it, and I did a painting with it, and I did not like that painting. Oh no, my lighting's gone all screwy. Come on. Come on. Okay. Look at them. Look at them. Look at our little goblin. Yes. Okay. Alright, it's only slightly washed out. That's fine. I can work with that. Anyways, but yeah. What was I saying before the lighting went all screwy? I forget. Oh yeah. I'm a little bit nervous in part because I bought I have this beautiful paint that I was, saving for a special occasion because it's nice paint, and then I painted something with it, and I did not like how that painting turned out. And that kind of gave me the fear about using a new art supply and then ruining it by doing something that's not very good. So that's where I'm at now, which is really stupid, but here we are. My throat is going again, so I'm gonna take a big sip of my tea. I might not go on too much longer after the break. We're gonna have a break in about 10 minutes, I think. I will continue on after that, but probably not for too much longer because genuinely my voice is struggling today. But I hope that's all right. But I am looking forward to my little gouaches. I also finally bought myself a new paintbrush to replace this bad boy, which has been dying for so long. It's lost so many. Oh, come on! It's doing it again. Anyways, this bad boy has lost so many bristles. Can you just recalibrate? Look at our little buddy. Look at them. Yeah, you got this. Okay. Let's see, can I just... Maybe that's better? I turned the light down a little bit. No! Why is it doing this to me? It's so mean. Yeah, anytime there's any white, and there tends to be a lot of white, because my paintings start with a white piece of paper, sometimes the lighting and the camera just decides that, like, I'm just gonna make the white incredibly bright. Stop it. It's not that bright in real life. Why is it doing this to me? Anyways, this is black, by the way. But I'm nervous about using... I'll probably start with just like a simple little landscape. This is ultramarine. Hooray! And it looks a little bit brighter on camera of a blue than it is in real life. This color is what the camera thought that the purple was in real life. And it's just an even... Like, this looks more like cerulean to me on camera than ultramarine. Weird. And this obviously is white. Anyways, my point is, I bought a whole bunch of these bad boys, but I believe Holbein is a good... It is artist's gouache, which is, I think, a good starting point in terms of how it's described. It's intended for making art, then, I assume. And it's not the cheapest gouache paint, but it also wasn't stupid expensive. What else do I know about Holbein? Despite the name, it is a Japanese company, even though Holbein was not a Japanese artist, but I have always really liked the paintings of Mr. Holbein. I think they're very good. But he is not the paint company. He was a primarily portrait artist from the early 16th century. So, yeah. Anyways. What a dude. Okay. I think what I want to do next is paint in the, a little scene in the back, in the window, because this square here is a window, because obviously the trains have windows. And the Overground does spend most of its journeys and routes and stuff over the ground. So you can actually see things out the window as opposed to the tube, which spends, depending on which line you're on, does spend quite a lot of its time under the ground, and you can't really see anything. So I'm just gonna quickly scroll through my photo roll, trying to find what's the last time I rode on the London Overground. And do I have pictures of it? It's been a while since I've been to London. When the heck is the last time I went to London? I feel like it's been a minute since the last time I was actually in London. That's wild. I used to go to London like every month. On just like a little weekend day trip to like run errands and do this, that, and the other. This is London. Yay, good. Okay. There's, if you want this is one of my favorite places in London. This is Okay, it's not really wanting to focus. There we go. Okay, it's a little washed out, but this is the longest escalator on the London Underground network. That's at Angel Station. That's my favorite because the escalator is weirdly long, and I find that really fun. It takes like, if you just stand on it, I swear it's like a minute and a half to get up and down that escalator. It's great. I love it. Don't rush back. London is still gross. Oh, I know it's gross, but I love it. I love it so much. It's so gross and it's my favorite and I like visiting it. So there. Anyways. Whew. Yeah, here's a selfie of me on the longest escalator on the London Underground network, and as you can see, I'm having an amazing time. My moderator slash spouse is, I don't know, photo bombing and being beautiful. The steep escalators give me a bit of vertigo, says Tells. That is so fair. If I wasn't such a weirdo, I would probably be freaked out by it. I didn't take a lot of photos on this visit to London, but I did take a photo outside of the Warhammer shop. Oh, who's that crossing the road? Who's that handsome boy? Anyways, okay, so that wasn't useful. Anyways, but I do like London. Parts of it I find I don't particularly like the super crowded touristy bits. But I do like the silly fun public transit gubbins. And I think it's a good time. I like sitting at the very front of DLR trains. But only if there isn't like a child on the train who should be sitting in the front seats. Like, I may have the train specialness, but I fully recognize that if like a 4-year-old gets on the DLR train in one of, you know, sort of like the frontmost coach, they are getting the cool kids seats where they get to feel like they're driving the train and see out the front. Because far be it from me to deny a child like that magical experience. This is the outfit that I was wearing when someone mistook me for Purgante, by the way. And damn it, I thought I looked cute. Oh no. But I can see how the apron does kind of have that effect. Uh-oh. Anyways. But yeah, honestly, I probably don't need a reference for this. I'm probably overthinking it, but here we are. I overthink things. Anyways. But yeah, I will say, okay, so I like the escalator at Angel Station, but I don't know if anyone's experienced this. I can't remember, what station is it? It's on the Liz line, and instead of having like a standard, just like vertical lift for people who need to use a lift, like if you know, like have mobility stuff, or you have luggage, or a pram, or a wheelchair, or you just can't be doing with stairs, like me, instead of having a stand, like I could do escalators, unless I have luggage, but I tend to try and avoid excessive amounts of stairs, because I will die. Anyways, I also have tiny little legs, so it's worse. My point is, I can't remember which station it is. It's one of the Liz Line stations, and instead of having like just a vertical elevator, as most stations that have lifts do, it's one of those, like, it runs parallel to the, escalator, like, on the same incline, and I hate that lift. I find it super freaky and scary. I don't know why, but it just, I wrote it once out of curiosity to be like, oh, this is an interesting lift design. And I hated it. It was terrible. I had an awful time. Anyways. Nopal Papi! Hello, welcome in. It's lovely to see you, Nopal. I hope you're having a lovely day. They say, hello, everyone. Hello! I like your PNG tuber's excellent posture. This is, that PNG tuber is exactly what I look like in real life. Also, hello, I hope you're well. Oh, goody, slanted elevator, says Kate. It's freaky. I don't like it. I don't know why, but for some reason, like, the escalator is fine. But the lift going up on, like, an incline, even though, like, obviously the floor of the lift itself is flat, but it's just going up at an angle parallel to the escalator. Just like, oh no, it's not as bad as the time that I took the cable car because I had a friend who's a photographer who's like, you got to take the cable car. Like, you got to do it. I was like, no. The cable car was terrifying. It was a terrifying experience. What kind of art do I normally do? I am a traditional artist. I do mostly watercolors, though I recently bought myself some gouache paint, so I might do some gouache as well. But we do all kinds of silliness here. The cable car is terrifying, says Pigeon. I don't like it. Let me see if I can dig out some old artwork for you to look at, friend. Before we... There's an ad break is going to run in a minute. I'm so sorry about that in advance. But, Here's one we did recently. This is a little street scene from Copenhagen. Also, a lot of people prefer to call me by my name instead of my username. So you can call me Miguel if you like. Well, hello, Miguel. Welcome in. Thank you very much for letting me know. This is Copenhagen in Denmark. It was a little street scene that we did with a lot of tiny windows. What else? This is a bookmark that I did of some gnomes enjoying a cozy bonfire in the winter. That is one you can get from my shop. This is a milk jug, because I'm Canadian, and this is how we drink milk, and this is a crow with some crowberry jam. I have to leave for a minute, because I'm so sorry you're about to see ads! I'm so sorry, but please enjoy this crowberry crow in the meantime, and the BRB screen as well, which I really need to update. It's about 100 years old, and my kitchen counter is not quite that slanted. Anyways, I'll be back in just a minute. BRB, everybody. What's up, gamers? Ads are done. Hi. I'm back. Welcome back, everybody. I don't think we're going to finish this, little goblin riding the goblin today. I'm free, says Miguel. Welcome back. Welcome. Hello. Sorry about if anyone had to see ads. Unfortunately, I can't make ads not happen, but the least I can do is not do anything interesting while ads are running. And that's why I have a BRB screen. It's also a fantastic opportunity for me to, like, have a beverage and just stretch and do all of those things as well, because, yeah. Are the gnomes recurring characters on your channel? I do paint the gnomes a fair bit. At least a couple times a year I end up doing some gnome art, I would say. The gnome husbands, they're very happy, and I like painting their cozy little shenanigans, because most of what they get up to is pretty dang cozy, I would say. And it's a fun time, and also, I don't know, I think they're cute and fun to paint. So yeah, we have a few recurring characters here on stream. This little goblin is not, they are actually one of they are my longest running D&D character. This is Unner, the goblin sorcerer. And I decided I wanted to do some fan art of them because, I love this character. I think they're fun. And why not? I really should not be needing to look up a reference for what is out the window of this train. But the reason that the goblin is riding this train, for anyone who's new here, there is a line of the London Overground in London, England, UK, which is not super far from... I don't live in London, I live in a city about an hour and a bit from London. But there is a line of the London Overground in London, which runs between Gospel Oak and Barking Riverside. It used to run just to Barking, now it runs to Barking Riverside. And it used to be colloquially known among locals as the Goblin, aka Gospel Oak to Barking line, Goblin for short. It's silly, but I love goblins. I think they're such fun, like, as a fantasy character. I think they're just the coolest and the cutest and the best, and I love them very much. So obviously, I wants to draws a goblin situation. I just had this stupid idea for so long of drawing a little goblin riding the goblin, because the train is called the Goblin and the creature is a goblin, and I love them both. So I'm combining my interests here in the silliest way possible. It's super goofy of me, but whatever. I'm having fun, so tough biscuits. Anyways. Okay, cool. I have found, okay, this is video footage of an overground train, but I found some video footage of an overground train, so I'm I'm just gonna find a good place to pause it and then paint some of the things I can see outside the window that I think look nice. I guess just some little buildings off in the distance, and then like some trees, I think is what I will attempt to do. And that should be fine. Okay. And it's fine if they're blurry because they're far away. So I'm not gonna be too concerned about things looking perfect here. Like it's fine. I might actually just rough in where I want the sort of greenery and stuff to be first. So if I kind of do like that, also I guess it should have a bit of the window that actually opens at the top. Thusly, if these lines are not perfectly straight, it's fine. Neither am I. Anyways, I should have asked my moderator / spouse what we're actually having for dinner because I don't remember. I know we're doing kids meal with potato waffles, but I don't remember what we're having with the potato waffles. Some kind of protein, and other than that, question marks. Anyways, okay, so I'm just gonna rough in some shape of building, and I'm gonna use a bit of my black and mix together a little black and brown to make a nice boringer brown. I would describe it as a little bit less of a bright brown, something a little more nondescript and far away. I think is probably the what we should be going for here. So off in the distance we have a little building back there. Doop-a-doop. Okay. Oh no. For some reason, I don't know why, my paint doesn't always do this, but every once in a while it just decides to, I think it must be the sizing on this paper that I'm using. Every once in a while it decides to really kind of resist, like, actually sitting cleanly on the paper. It will just kind of want to beat up really badly. Which is not really the vibe I'm going for. I'm not sure why it's doing that. But I'm usually able to resolve it. It just takes a little bit of kind of like working it in, you know? Which is not my favorite activity, but whatever. We'll get there. Anyways. Okay, sweet, that'll do. I'm gonna rough in some building shapes, and then we'll add some like teeny tiny itty bitty little details. Also, is my camera just absolutely whiting this out again? Yes, it is. Stop doing that. Ha, beans. Anyways, but yeah, I hope y'all are having a good one. I will be back tomorrow morning doing the Silk Song. I might end slightly early though, just because. I'm doing a doctor's appointment in the afternoon, and I might need to dash off to get ready for that. I'm gonna need to do some intensive research this evening, I think, into where the heck it is. And making sure I have a fairly clear idea of like where I need to be going and blah blah blah. Because I am, it's fair to say, a little nervous about that, since it's in an area that I'm not particularly familiar with. So yeah, that should be a fun time. But I'm looking forward to getting back into the old Silk Song tomorrow morning. I think it will be fun. I think it will be probably a terrible time for me, but in a fun way, because we've just found bile water, which is awful and a terrible area of the game, but whatever. People like watching content creators suffering and having a terrible time, so I think that'll be really good. Because I am 100% certain that I'm going to hate it there. Yay! So yeah, that's tomorrow morning. And then Monday stream is normal. Oh no, bile water is stinky. I mean, it's right there in the name. Like, the name does not sound pleasant or fun, does it? It sounds like the stuff of nightmares. Yay. Apologies that we have to go to there, but unfortunately it's a section of the game you have to complete. I do want to do the whole game, so I have to complete bile water, and I hope that we don't have to spend too many streams on it, but I have a bad feeling about this. Oh no. Anyways, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Chat, it will be fine. Don't worry. It's fine. Anyways. Okay. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of blue. Which is not particularly blue because all of these colors are blended with brown. And blue is just kind of murky and brownish. That's fine. There's a big old block of building in the background here. And it goes right there. Doop. Okay. Okie dokie. I don't know why the paint is sitting so weird on this segment of it, because it wasn't like down here, but up here it's like not sitting very comfortably. It's really strange. Whatever. Anyways, it's fine. No worries. 'Tis all good. Just a little bit odd. But yeah, having an interesting time thinking about how the heck bile water is gonna go down tomorrow. Oh no. And not mega looking forward to it, but oh well. Such is video game. We know this is a hard game. I swear to gosh, I thought I was going to be done this game by now. And nope, no, I'm sure not. Eddie, thank you very much for the lurk and the hydrate. I very appreciate it. I am going to have a little sippy of my tea because I need it. Absolutely delicious. Very much appreciated. Thank you. I'm going to do a building that's kind of yellowish, but like, you know, gross building exterior yellow. Thusly. And I can kind of sandwich it just kind of behind this one, and it's going to be just one of these shapes. And I think that'll do for the buildings in the background here. That's entirely fine. Okay, can I get you to paint? Can I get you to sit? Okay. Okay, the paint is sitting. Huzzah. How strange. Oh, thank you for the posture check as well, Eddie. I will just, you can't see, but I am unshrimping. Ow. Oh, my spine. Ah. Oof. Okay, I have done a stretch. I am less shrimpy than I was before. Oof, ouch. Okay. I think I would like the sky to be a slightly more naturalistic blue than I can get from this paint palette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this blue that is... Oh, Sammy says, hi, the pattern is spot on. Love this so far. Thank you so much. I am very, very pleased with the way that this seat maquette has turned out. I'm glad you approve. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to pull a little bit of an extra palette of blue for my sky, because I just want it to have a little bit more actual blueness to it. That'll do. Anyways, hello Sammy, and I hope you're well. It's lovely to see you. Welcome. I am Really hoping I can get this painting done before the end of the month, because next month, I've got a lot going on. It's Hollow Knight Art Month, and I'm also away for half of the month. Ah! I do figure if the sky is a little bit gray, that's fine. Because it doesn't need to be a perfectly beautiful blue sky sunny day, does it? That's not exactly, I mean, listen, we get plenty of blue sky sunny days in this country, even though it's not what the UK is known for. We do get plenty of blue skies and bright sunlight, and more than was advertised when I chose to move here. And I do resent that mildly sometimes, because I am very sensitive to sunlight these days. Like, very sensitive to sunlight. Like, did I show y'all? Shh, we would never know, says Sammy. Thank you. I was gonna say Hollow Knight Art Month. I'll be doing the mermaid. Ooh, mermaid, nice. There's some important Team Sailor Scouts missing. Ooh, I would love to see more mermaids from you, for sure, for sure. But yeah, speaking of bright sunny days, did I show y'all? I bought myself the mountaineering glasses. Oh god, you can see the reflections of behind the scenes in my mountaineering glasses. But the important thing about these glasses is that they have these little side shields that keep the sun from getting in beside the lenses of your specs. And I love them. I love them so much. I look wild in these. Are they aesthetic? They're the most aesthetic ones I could find. Let me put it that way. But I do think I look, I look a little bit like a mad professor in them, I feel like. But I'm very happy to have them for, like, very, like, sunny times of the day. For sure, for sure. Just to keep myself feeling a little bit better, slightly more accommodated for, I suppose. Speaking of, oh, do I have it here, I wonder? Do I have it here? I did do a painting. I did do a painting not super long ago that was, I think I did this off stream. Let me see if I have it here. I don't know. I've got all of my Hollow Knight Art Month prep, which is a lot. Do I have here the painting that I did? Because I haven't posted it anywhere yet. Ah, shoot, I don't have it here. Okay. I don't know where it is, but I did a painting of my Balorbos. And because this guy, who you may know from Star Trek, is quite sensitive to bright lights, I gave him mountaineering sunglasses to go walking around on a sunny day in London, because I can relate to that. And I just think that, you know, there's no, I don't know, you're not going to get any awards for denying yourself an accommodation you don't think you deserve. You know, if you are very sensitive to sunlight, just wear the dark sunglasses. Nobody cares. Just let yourself feel comfortable, you know? I think sometimes, and I definitely am guilty of this to, like, a ridiculous degree sometimes, feeling like I should not need this accommodation, therefore I am not providing it for myself. Whether that is not buying the mountaineering sunglasses for a really, really long time, or, like, you know, if I have a headache, not taking an ibuprofen straight away. And it's just like, no, there's no valor in just, like, suffering for no reason if you can just accommodate yourself, you know? Like, turn the ambient lighting of the world down a little bit by wearing a pair of dark sunglasses with side shields. Why not? Just do it. Just do it. Just do it, you know? Feels called out to Sammy Ann. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of us do that. And I think it is probably a learned thing from someplace somewhere, like, oh god, I was thinking about, because of a video that I'm eventually going to be putting out on my YouTube channel. Here's a link to my YouTube channel in case you missed it earlier. I did do some filming this week for an upcoming video, so hopefully that's a thing that people will enjoy. But, but I think the aesthetic is wonderful, so Sammy, I mean, I'm excited about them. I think they're great. I am genuinely pumped to get to wear these. But, no, yeah, for sure. What was I saying? Sunglasses, accommodations. Oh yeah, I think some measure of it probably goes back to like the Protestant work ethic. I was thinking about John Calvin again, and Calvinism and branches of Calvinism, and I just hate all the stuff. But also, the Protestant work ethic. I hate it. It's stupid. It's the idea that, like, for instance, like, people who go into work sick. Listen, if you are in the kind of job where you still get paid no matter what, if you don't come into work when you're under the weather, and you are not in, like, a punitive work environment where, like, if you call in sick, your hours will be cut right down to nothing, or you're probably going to get fired if you don't come in, or your boss is going to yell at you if you don't come in. If you can work from home when you are sick, if you are able to just, like, message work and be like, hey, I've got a stinking cold, and in the interest of public health, I am staying home and I'm working from home today. Just, give me a ping if you need anything on, like, Microsoft Teams or whatever you use. Oh my god, please do that. Please do that. Like, I do not like the attitude of, like, wow, what a trooper because you came into the office while you were sick. No, I do not share that attitude. My attitude is, I do not want to get sick. If you are unwell and you bring that into a shared space that I'm in, I am judging you for, exposing people unnecessarily to contagions and stuff. Even if we're all hanging out in the office, like, some of us have disabilities, some of us have, like, immune systems that are worse, some of us have, like, members of our households who have immune systems that are worse. Like, it is a genuine unkindness of you to come into a workplace when you are sick if you are able to not do so. And I understand that, again, Protestant work ethic, we live in a society where some people will genuinely be, like, punished and potentially in a precarious employment situation if they try to phone in sick. Like, I used to work as a many years ago, I briefly was a temp doing office work for various outlets and offices via an agency. And it was a struggle for me because while if I went into my job and I was obviously unwell, some kind soul would be like, do you need to go home? And I'd be like, yeah, and then I would go home. But here's the thing, I would not get paid for the portion of the day that I did not work if I went home because I was sick. And that system, therefore, rewards going in while you're sick. But if you're in the kind of salaried job where you can, you can choose to work from home because you're sick, or you can choose to take the day off because you're sick, and you're not going to be punished for it by your job, you're not going to lose money. No one is happy that you're here while sick. Don't effing do that, because all you're doing is unnecessarily exposing other people to contagions. And that is, quite frankly, if you can avoid it, and again, I'm trying to be very mindful of the fact that not everyone is able to make this choice, but if you were able to make this choice, it is a dick move to go to work while you were sick. Okay, I've said my piece. But yeah, Tal says there's some moral judgment mixed into it for sure, and I hate it. Yeah, absolutely. It's this whole sort of like, you should be able to do this, without, like, again, with regard to, like, accommodations and stuff. It's, you should be able to do this. Everyone else is able to do this. You should be able to do this without extra help. Therefore, you should be denying yourself extra help, which is bad. And I don't like that. One of my pencils has gone for a wander, and I don't know where it is. I really hope it's, in the other room. I'm fighting that because I hate it, says Sammy, and yeah, just, Mm. I've been in situations in jobs where I was in like an open plan office space and didn't feel comfortable saying, I cannot function in this space. So instead I ended up like with the most screwy, uncomfortable desk configuration to try and claw back some sense of not having someone looking over my shoulder every 5 seconds while I was working, which I find incredibly distracting and anxiety inducing. I don't know how other people just cope with, like, you know, I'm just sitting with my back to a room of potentially upwards of dozens of people, la 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 la, job, 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 and not constantly thinking about, is there someone directly behind me right now? Is someone looking at what I'm doing right now? You know, like, are they judging me because they do it differently? I don't know. It's a horrible mindset. But anyways, I ended up contorting myself into like the most uncomfortable desk position just to try and like have a little bit of privacy with like my screen and my monitor and stuff, so I didn't feel like I constantly had someone potentially right behind me like staring at what I'm doing. Because weirdly enough, that's really stressful. I also, oh god, okay. I had an old job where my desk was placed. This was actually a temp job. But I had a temp job where the way that my desk was placed, there was my desk, and then behind me was a wall, and then on the other side of that wall was another office space where several other people, including my line manager in that temp post, worked, and his desk was right on the other side of that wall. He had a window installed in that wall that faced, again, directly out onto, like, right behind the back of my head, basically, and put one of those, like, one-way mirrors on the wall so that he could see out of the window, but no one could see in. And the justification was because my desk was in a more public area of the building for security reasons. In case there was a security issue, he could, like, you know, sort of jump out and, you know, like, deal with it or call security or deal with it himself. But the functional upshot of it was that at some point, it was one of those jobs where there will be parts of the day where you have like a schedule of things that you have to do, and then there are other parts of the day where, again, probably because I was a temp, so I wasn't being given all of like the main jobs of the person in this role, there were lots of parts of the day where I was effectively just filling a seat at a desk and was there in case anyone had any like questions or something I had to do, sort of a la minute, right? Which meant that there was a lot of the day where, like, okay, I kind of had to look like I was working, but I literally had nothing to do. Like, twiddling my goddamn thumbs, nothing to do, right? And in other posts with this sort of situation, I had taken to just bringing, like, a book and just reading, you know? But no, can't sit at my desk and read because that looks unprofessional. So at one point, I just pulled up like a news page. I was just reading like BBC News. I wasn't even, you know, reading Star Trek fan fiction. I was reading the BBC News page. And I get an email 5 minutes later from my line manager saying, you know, like, please don't read the BBC News page while you're working. It looks unprofessional. You should have a, you know, something related to job on your screen at all times. So, yeah, the whole, like, there's a mirror and window in the wall for security purposes was a load of old bunk. It was so you can micromanage me. I'm sorry, if you want me to do more stuff, you gotta give me more stuff to do, Phil. I'm sorry I'm so spicy. I'm not normally this spicy, but here we are. Katie says, I couldn't work in an open plan office. Couldn't do it. Hate feeling like people are looking at me. I would not ever do it again. It was, as a neurodivergent individual, I feel like open plan offices are suboptimal for everyone, regardless of neurotype. But if you have, like, the 1-2 punch of autism and ADHD, it is a nightmare. It is a meltdown waiting to happen, and it is frankly an ableist macroaggression as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I would never do that again. But yeah. Katie says interior window / mirror shit. Bad manager, no worries. Bad manager. Bad manager. Yeah, absolutely. Terrible. Sammy says I brought a memory key with me so I could write in those situations. It looked like I was working in the downtimes. I was actually working on my book. Hell yeah. And that's how you do it. I started just writing a lot of like short stories and articles I was working on because I was also sort of side hustling in like journalism at the time. So I would just write those in like email drafts and then send them to myself. Because there was literally nothing else to do and no other way to sit there looking professional. So I was like, screw it. I will just write things in an email draft. It looks professional. Like, but also, you know what? If people can see what's on my computer monitor, they're the ones who shouldn't be looking. Frankly, it doesn't matter whether or not it looks professional. They are the ones who should not be looking because that's confidential. Get in the bin. Anyways. Spicy topic to say, man. Seriously, we shall rise against Phil. Yeah, I mean, this was 100 years ago. This is like, it's fine, but look, Phil, I'm emailing. Are you actually looking at your own screen? Yeah, it's just I have no patience for micromanagers. I think I don't think anyone actively wants to be micromanaged, and I think micromanagers generally make jobs worse. I remember reading an article. This was in like a business magazine, which it's going to be questionable, but they were like, how to manage workers who have ADHD. And talking about the unique struggles that people with ADHD face in the workplace. And yeah, there are unique struggles that people with ADHD face in the workplace. 100%. But one of the suggestions they made was effectively monitoring their work more closely and giving them like very specific. It basically, the way that it was worded sounded kind of fluffy, but what it amounted to was effectively micromanage them harder. And I'm like, no, that's how you get a person with ADHD to quit. Like, don't do that. Like, check in with them periodically and make sure that that they're not struggling, but also trust that they are adults who know what their jobs are, and give them the respect and autonomy to trust that they will get their jobs done. I know that's controversial, I know. But I think that's the best way to get the most out of people, is to understand that they're adults, and they know that they have to do a job. And it's fine. Concern yourself less with do they look busy and more do they, are they completing the tasks to the time scale set out? And if not, check in with them. If they're having a problem or a question, check in with them. But that's not the same as micromanage them. No, go away. That's how you get people to quit. Anyways, as soon as he said business magazine, I hear guide to brown nosing and corporate bootlicking, says Katie. Yup, exactly. I hate it. I hate business. I hate business. I hate corporate stuff. I hate, the attitudes that they have. It's just bad. It's just bad. And this is why I'm a watercolor painter and not, an assistant CEO. There you go. Anyways. Sammy Ann says, I had a manager who had her Kindle open at all times and accused others of not working while she was reading. It was a bit embarrassing. That's so embarrassing, and they should feel very embarrassed. That's awful. Yeah, Katie says, let people do their jobs. Yes, exactly, yes. Yes, exactly, yes. The worst feeling, I think, as a person doing any job is the feeling that, that whoever you report to doesn't trust you to know what you're doing, or doesn't trust you to ask them if you don't know what you're doing or you don't know what to do. Just, oh my god, trust people, just, yeah. well, this is a fun note to end on because I'm gonna call it there for today. This was this is a regular length stream, I think, for an art stream. We're still not done this art, but I feel like we might actually get it done next time. I hope so, because we don't have many more streams left of the month. So, and I am sorry, I'm really sorry I wasn't able to stream on Monday. It was a bit of a day. We had an internet installation stuff, but hey, we're on the new broadband now, and the stream is fine. Oh, Beans! Hi! Where are my notifications? Because we just got a raid. Hi, raiders. Welcome in. Hello. Normally there would be a raid alert, but apparently my alerts aren't working. But Bulk Bug Bargainbin, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. I'm going to stick around a little bit longer so I can say hello to you. How was your stream? What'd you get up to today? Thank you so much for stopping in. I'm so sorry that my alert did not... Where did my alert go? I have no idea why my alert didn't work. I'm so sorry. But hi. I hope you're well. Let me get a shout out for you in the chat. I can spell real good. It took me so long to spell that. And I love your username, by the way. How was your stream? What'd you get up to today? It is so good to see you. Welcome. Hello to anyone who came in on the raid. Sorry, that was a very strange raid introduction, but I don't know where my alerts have gone. But hi, hello. For anyone who's new here, my name is Twitch user Sammy Kelch. I'm a variety streamer. I stream typically on Mondays and Thursdays doing artworks, and then Friday mornings, and every once in a while Thursday, if I'm feeling extra crispy, I do game streams. So we'll be playing Silk Song tomorrow, and right now we are watercolor painting a goblin riding the Goblin, which is a train line in London, which is colloquially known as the Goblin because it runs between Gospel Oak and Barking. The Goblin. Anyways, I was drawing bugs this Bulk Bug Bargainbin. Hell yeah! I'm doing a project where I draw 100 tiny bugs and we hit 40 today. Oh, congratulations! That's awesome! As always, we are an art tax optional stream, so if there's anything you would like to share, I'd be very, very, very happy to share it with the class if you have a link to whisper in my direction. But if you just want to chill, that is totally fine as well. As for me, if anyone wants to see what my artwork looks like when it's done, you can. Let me find my show and tell screen. But yeah, we've been having a bit of a spicy one today, but hopefully having a nice time. This is my artwork. I've been very bad with actually posting things to Instagram, but here's a piece I did a little while ago of the two little boys from Star Trek Deep Space Nine going fishing. Because I don't know, sometimes I just want to paint my characters from my shows having a nice time. This is the collared bush robin, which is one of my favorite robin species. I think they're so cute. I love their big eyebrows. And I do like to paint birds quite a bit. And what else? This is ooh, let me show you this one. This is Terry. Terry is a frog. He is a mage. He is Terry the Forg Mage. And he's been on many adventures over the years, and I've painted a bunch of them, and here's a bunch of them. Anyways, yeah, that's Terry, and that's my artwork. Lovely void shot there for a second, says Katie. Yeah, it's... the back end of this stream is extremely janky, I do apologize, but yeah, that's what some of my artwork looks like when it's done. I hope you like it. But yeah, also thank you very much for the raid. Let me get another shout out for you in the chat, if I can do it correctly. Yeah, there we go. There we go. And if you're not following a Bulk Bug Bargainbin, you can do it right there. If you like bugs, you're in for a good time. Thank you again for the raid. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, we are painting just a little goblin. This goblin is a long-running Dungeons and Dragons character of mine. Their name is Honora, and they are a goblin sorcerer. They have never canonically been to London. I just thought it would be really cute if they were riding this train line. I've also been, because next month is Hollow Knight Art Month, and I am a Hollow Knight enjoyer, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of art for that. And I'm going to be away for like 2 weeks. I had to finagle, but I'm going to send you my bugs so far. Oh, yes, send me a whisper, and I will be very, very happy to share it. I'm having to speed run several weeks of Hollow Knight Art Month in advance. I will stick a link to the prompt list if you would also like to do Hollow Knight Art Month this month. The prompt list is at the website that I have linked in the chat. But I'm trying to pre-paint a bunch of these, which normally I try and get at least some of them done on the actual day of the prompt word, but I'm going to be out of the country for several days of the month, so here's what I've got so far. This is the Chapel Maid. I can't remember what the word was for that. This is the Hornet putting something on a shelf. This is the Sands of Karak. This is the Ant guys. I can't remember what they're called. This is the Relic Seeker Scrunge. This is Eva in the Weave Nest at Altla. This is Shellwood Pigeon. None of these are done. Don't judge me. This is the Vault Keeper's Records Store. This is the Mask Maker. This is a giant flea. I think it's actually just called Huge Flea. This is Garmund and Zaza with no background, and this is Zote's big giant head. Okay, so that's that. And that's all I have so far for Hollow Knight Art Month. I am very scared that I'm not going to get all this done in time. I'm hustling. I'm hustling to get this stuff done. But I'm also trying to do it in a way such that I'm working on like 5 or 6 paintings at any given time. So it looks like I haven't finished anything because I haven't finished any paintings, but I'm like 3/4 of the way through like 7 or 8 of them. So I figure that's progress, right? I hope. Anyways, but yeah, this is somewhere between Gospel Oak and Barking in London. Whilst we're here for a couple more minutes, I'm going to try and paint tiny windows onto these little buildings in the background, because I think that would be really cute. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of my black paint for that, and I'm literally just going to put some little dotty little gray windows in the background. Oh, now my paint's wet. No, my paint wasn't wet enough before, now it's too wet. Oh no. Oh shoot. Oh, what have I done? Okay. Anyways, also sorry I went on rants earlier for anyone who was here before the raid. I do apologize for getting quite so. Things don't normally get quite so heated, but sometimes you've got thinky thoughts, and today apparently I did. Anyways, we've got some artwork from Bulk Bug Bargain Bin, so let me see if I can get that link up so we can have a little. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Alright, content warning if you're scared of bugs, but oh, these are rad as heck. You're gonna love them if you like bugs. Ta-da! Look at them, they're so beautiful! They're so lovely. I love these so much. I'm so sorry for my cough. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea while we marvel at the absolute gorgeousness of your little buggies. Oh my goodness, tag yourself. I am... If I were any of these bugs, I think I would probably be the... Which one am I? I'm probably this little dude, just the second from the left on the 3rd row down. Though I wish I was the one on the second from the left on the 2nd row down. But these are also beautiful. They belong in an Insectopedia. They are so cool. They are so cool. Thank you so much for sharing this. And once again, thank you very much for the raid as well. That is going to be an amazing... When that is done and you've done all of the 100 of them, that's going to be so good. That's going to be so good. I love it. I love it already. What a fantastic project. Hell yes. Amazing. So cool. I'm just painting imprecise tiny squares. Onto this ickle building so that it looks like it's got windows. Okay, once again my paint is a little bit too... Oh no. See if I can lift that a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Alright. Anyways. Wish me luck for tomorrow. I'm genuinely terrified about this. Woodland ground beetle is the one you chose. I love them. They're very cute. I love them very much. Hell yeah. Absolutely delightful. What a fantastic project. I am so nervous about tomorrow. For anyone who's come in recently, I have a what I thought was a hospital appointment tomorrow, but it turns out it's at a facility in the middle of like a business estate in an area of town that I'm not familiar with, and I'm very nervous about getting there. I thought it was just at the hospital, but no, I'm so anxious. I mean, I'm also anxious because I have to go have a medical test done, which is never fun, but like, ugh. Ugh. It's now it's not just I have to get a medical test done, it's I have to get a medical test done in like a terrifying place I've never been to before. So it's just layer upon layer of bad times for your streamer. So yeah, not looking forward to that tomorrow. But at least tonight I get to eat potato waffles. And that's nice. So yeah, yay me. Anyways, but I hope you are all well. I hope you are having the loveliest of lovely Thursdays. My day apart from that has been fine. Can't really think of what else I did, which is usually a pretty good sign that it's fine. I'm gonna make the roof of this a different color as well. Just trying to keep the gubbins in the window a bit vague and woolly because they're far away. Okay, I'll just wet this down a smidge. There we go. I'm trying to make the windows on this one a little bit smaller to give off the idea that it's a little bit further away. I don't know if it's working, but hopefully it maybe is a little bit. I don't know. There's some little office blocks or blocks of flats off somewhere between Gospel Oak and Barking, which is not really a bit of London that I particularly visit super often. So hopefully this is doing it justice. There we go. Okay, I've put some buildings in the background. Yay. That sounds rough, says Bulk Bargain Bin. I hate medical stuff as someone who's disabled and has to do medical stuff constantly. Yeah, it's a mood. I've got quite I don't want to get into it, but I've got quite a lot going on at the moment, so appointments, text messages, phone calls, consultations, blah blah blah. It's never ending at this point, but here we are. It's fine. I'm okay in the grand scheme of things, but it's necessary annoyances for sure, and a lot of headaches and hassles and what have you. And on that note, I think I'm gonna call it there because I really got to go cook dinner. I've just seen the time, and I want to finish before we get another ad break for sure. So I'm gonna call it there for today. I'm very sorry. But thank you all for hanging out with me. I've had a really nice time hanging with you. Sorry if things got a little bit spicy and ranty earlier, but apparently I had opinions today. Heck. Right. Let me see who's around, who's doing some stuff. We might do a little raid on. Is anyone doing something art related? Yeah, okay. I was just seeing who's online. It looks like there's not a lot of... I don't actually have a lot of people online right now. Maybe people are just enjoying the beautiful weather. It is very nice here at the moment, which is lovely. But we might go say hi to Yepany. Because Yepany's lovely. And is doing a little bit of comfy co-working, which is a nice, soft place to land, I reckon. I will get a raid message in the chat, and then we'll go do that. In the meantime, I would like to thank you all very much for hanging out with me today. It's been very fun. I'll be back tomorrow morning playing some Silk Song. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, it's going to be a very silly time. Feel free to drop on in when that happens tomorrow. I do also have a Discord if you want to find out when I'm live or yada yada yada. I'm really bad at telling people about it. There's the raid message if you want the raid message. Here's a link to the Discord if you want it. Tis a quiet place, but we have fun there. It is generally a pretty cozy time. But, yeah. Feel free to grab the raid message. If you have the emotes, feel free to grab the emotes. If you don't have the emotes, you can just say generic raid message or append any cool emotes that you do have. It's all good. I'll be back tomorrow morning. And I hope you have a wonderful evening in the meantime. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks again to Bulk Book Bargain Bin for the raid before we finish. And yeah, thank you all very much indeed. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Good night and good luck.